Before you chase the next promotion, the next deal, the next big milestone, listen to me. My name is David. I'm 76 years old, and I built a company valued at $200 million. I had the top floor office, the private flights, the oceanfront estate. Business magazines featured me. Young founders asked for my blueprint to success. But here's the truth no one printed. While I was constructing that empire, I was quietly tearing down the only things that truly mattered. And by the time I understood what I'd done, most of it was beyond repair. I sold the company years ago. The wealth is still there. The houses, the investments, they remain. But I would surrender every dollar without hesitation for the chance to go back and choose differently. If you're telling yourself, just a few more years and then I'll slow down, I need you to hear me. I used to say the same thing, and I was wrong. Let me take you back to 1978. I was 30, newly married to a woman named Rebecca, and stubborn enough to believe I could build something extraordinary. Friends said I was reckless for starting my own company. I was determined to prove them wrong. The first 5 years were merciless. 80-hour weeks, sometimes 90. I missed dinners, anniversaries, birthdays. Rebecca would smile and say, "It's okay. We're investing in our future." I convinced myself she meant it. I truly believed that once we arrived, life would finally begin. We'd have time then. That promise, later, became the lie I told myself for 2 decades. In 1983, our daughter Lily was born. I was in a strategy meeting when Rebecca went into labor. I arrived at the hospital after everything was over. I promised myself I wouldn't miss the important moments again. But I did. Her first steps, her first day of school, her piano recitals, her graduation ceremonies. I always had a reason. A client dinner, a board call, a crisis that couldn't wait. One memory refuses to leave me. Lily was 7 when she walked into my home office holding a picture she had drawn of our family. She was glowing with excitement. I was on a conference call. I lifted a finger, just a second. She waited. 30 seconds, maybe less. Then she quietly turned and walked away. Years later, I found that drawing tucked inside a folder. At the bottom, in careful handwriting, she had written, "I love you, Daddy, even when you're busy." She was 7. By the time I read those words, I couldn't go back and answer her. By 1995, I had made it. The company was valued at $50 million. We moved into a sprawling home. We finally took a vacation to Maui, our first real break in 12 years. I remember thinking, see, the sacrifice paid off. But something had shifted. Rebecca had built a world that didn't revolve around me. She had her circle, her volunteer work, her rhythm. Lily was 13 and spoke to me like I was a guest passing through. I told myself it was adolescence. Once she left for college, we'd reconnect. That magical someday I kept postponing everything for. In 2001, Lily was accepted to Stanford. I was proud beyond words. When we dropped her off, she hugged her mother tightly for several long minutes. When she turned to me, it was brief, polite, distant. That same year, Rebecca asked for a divorce. 23 years of marriage. She said she was tired of being alone while still married. She wasn't wrong. I had been committed to my company, not to her. I couldn't argue. After the divorce, I did what I always did. I worked harder. The company grew to $200 million. I appeared on the cover of Forbes. Interviewers asked about my discipline, my vision, my strategy. I never told them the full cost. In 2009, at 61, I had a heart attack. I was alone in my office when the pain started. I drove myself to the hospital. There was no one to call. Rebecca had moved on. Lily lived across the country. My assistant realized something was wrong when I didn't show up the next morning. Lying in that hospital bed, surrounded by machines, I faced a question I had avoided my entire life. Who was all of this for? Not my wife. She was gone. Not my daughter. She had learned how to grow without me. Was it for pride? Ego? An invisible finish line that kept moving farther away? I sold the company in 2012. The payout was massive. And then I had to confront something terrifying. What does life look like when the work is gone? I was 64, financially set for 10 lifetimes, and profoundly alone. I tried to rebuild my relationship with Lily. Weekly calls, flights to see her, invitations to dinner. But time doesn't refund what you miss. You can't replay a childhood. You can't attend a recital that happened 15 years ago. She's kind to me now. We share meals occasionally. We speak on the phone. But we don't share the ease, the inside jokes, the history that close families carry effortlessly. We are cordial, and that distance is my doing. 3 years ago, she got married. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. I was grateful beyond measure. At the reception, she stood to speak. She talked about her mother, about strength, consistency, unconditional presence. She thanked me for coming. Thanked me for coming. Like I was an honored guest. That night, alone in my hotel room, I cried harder than I had in decades. Because I finally understood what I had missed. Not milestones. Not trophies. Moments. Here's what it took me 60 years to grasp. Success is hollow if you stand alone at the top. Money is meaningless when there's no one beside you to share it. Achievements fade if the people you love feel forgotten. I watch young professionals now repeating my pattern. 70-hour weeks. Skip dinners. Promises of after this quarter or once I hit this target. They all say the same thing I used to say, just a few more years. But there's always another goal. Another promotion. Another deal. The finish line keeps moving. Meanwhile, your children grow up. Your marriage thins. And one day you wake up wealthy and aching. If I could sit across from my 30-year-old self, I would say this. Leave the office at 5 sometimes. Let the email wait. Reschedule the meeting. Your daughter's game is tonight. Her childhood is not renewable. Work will always demand more. There will always be urgency. But your children are only young once. Your partner will not wait forever. Your parents will not be here indefinitely. The people you love are not permanent fixtures. They're on a clock. I own properties and portfolios that could sustain generations. But I would exchange all of it, every asset, for one ordinary afternoon with Lily at 7. For one evening beside Rebecca before I pushed her away. For the chance to sit still and truly be there. You know what's ironic? The company I sacrificed everything for barely remembers me. After I sold it, new leadership stepped in. Within 2 years, it was as if I had never existed. The contracts I fought for? Forgotten. The accolades? Dust on old pages. But Lily remembers. She remembers every missed birthday. Every time work came first. Every broken promise. Those memories shaped her view of me. They defined our distance. And unlike money, unlike companies, those cannot be rewritten. So before you trade another evening for another deal, ask yourself, when you're 76, what will matter more, the empire you built or the people who chose to stay? Because I built the empire, and I lost what mattered most. I'm 76 now. I live alone in a quiet condo overlooking the ocean. My days are wide open. I read books I once claimed I had no time for. I take trips. I volunteer at local shelters. But more than anything, I sit with my thoughts. I replay the crossroads of my life and wonder how different it could have been if I had understood one simple truth earlier. Success isn't counted in revenue, contracts, or the size of your house. Real success is measured in connection, in showing up, in love that's felt, not funded. So if you're watching this while answering emails late at night, pause for a second. Close the laptop. Turn off the screen. Go home. Sit at the table with your children. Share a meal. Watch a movie with your partner. Put your phone away and actually be there. Because 20 years from now, you won't remember the details of that spreadsheet or presentation, but you will remember whether you were present when it counted. And if you're thinking, my case is different, what I'm building really matters, I told myself the exact same thing. Every person who falls into this trap believes they're the exception. We're not. We all assume we have more time than we do. We all believe the people we love will wait patiently on the sidelines. We all convince ourselves we can make up for it later. You can't. I learned that lesson 4 decades too late. You don't have to. Make the shift now. Go home earlier. Sit closer. Listen longer. Choose your family while you still can. Because when your life is nearing its end, no one will gather around to celebrate your job title. But the people you love will remember whether you showed up for them. And if you ignore that truth, you may end up where I am, wealthy on paper, accomplished in the public eye, and deeply alone behind closed doors. If this makes you uneasy, that's good. It should. If it pushes you to rethink your priorities, even better. Don't postpone the change. Don't promise yourself soon or after this quarter. Start today. Start now. Time doesn't slow down for ambition. It doesn't pause for your 5-year plan. It keeps moving, steady, and indifferent. And eventually, it runs out. Leave a comment and tell me one thing you'll do differently. Subscribe if you want to hear more hard-earned truths from someone who paid a high price to learn them. Share this with anyone who needs the reminder. And then shut the device. Step away. Go sit beside the people who matter most. Believe me, in the end, they will matter more than anything else you ever build.